And on this video, we're taking a look at the Gearwrench WG-SMART07 Bi-Directional Scanner. Now this scanner is able to check all the systems on your vehicle. It has topology, and it also gives you access to service functions, which are the reset functions, typically dealer level type of stuff, and can also give you live data coming from the vehicle. And on this video, I'm gonna walk you through its features as well as show you the vehicle coverage list. That way you can check if your vehicle make is gonna be supported by the scanner. And as always, I have placed a link in the description down below to the scanner if you'd like to get one for yourself. Now let's take a closer look at the scanner. First off, we get a case with some nice heavy duty latches. Scanner's located on the right hand side and accessories on the left. Let's start with the scan tool. And this has a nice attractive color in that safety orange. This is hard plastic, but the sides are softer rubber, which is good for drop protection. Moving to the top, we find the power button, which is backlit, and also a dust cover which reveals a USB-C port. And on the back of this unit, we find an integrated camera and also an integrated aluminum kickstand. And for accessories, we get USB-C to USB-C cable, power adapter, also USB-C, and a folding faceplate. And additionally, we get this little adapter that goes from full-size USB to USB-C, and finally the wireless VCI, and this also has an additional USB-C port. And let's begin by connecting the VCI to the vehicle's OBD-II port. And here's what the main menu looks like. Now, the most common feature people use to diagnose a vehicle is going to be AutoScan. And the scanner essentially uses the bin to automatically identify the vehicle that you're working with. Now you're given the following options: automatic scan, system selection, where you can select an individual system, ADAS calibration, or ECU configuration. Let's do an automatic scan. Now this scanner supports topology, so it is going to go through the systems on the car looking for codes or any issues found within them. And with the scan complete, you can see that some of the systems have issues as indicated by the red color, and the systems that have green don't have any issues associated with them. You could also clear all the codes at once using the clear all DTC option, or you can switch over from topology to list, where it will show you again the systems that have issues, the systems that were passing as okay, and within each system, if you tap on this little arrow, it will show you the details of the issues that were found. Additionally, if you tap under the diagnose option, it is going to tell you what the system does, in this particular case the engine and ECT. Again, you can read the codes from it, clear the codes from the system, live data, freeze frame data, actuation tests, and special functions. Let's take a look at actuation tests. And here's the different tests that can be activated, or components that can be activated on this vehicle. Now this list is going to vary. Some vehicles have more control than others depending on how new they are. Let's also take a look at special function. Here's the special functions under the ECT engine module. Again, this list will vary depending on the vehicle that you're working with. Let's take a look, for example, at ABS. Let's go inside of here, type diagnostics, and again it tells you what the system does, and then it gives you similar options. Notice in here, I'm gonna go inside of the same place as before. It's gonna give me a different list of things that I can activate or things that I can test because I'm under a different system, which is now the ABS. Let's see what we find under the special functions for ABS. And here's the list of stuff for ABS module. Also notice that the vehicle's battery voltage is indicated right here. And if you tap this icon, you can get a list of the issues that were found. But going back to the screen, instead of doing a full automatic scan of the vehicle, you can just go directly to the system that you're interested in accessing. In this case, let's take a look at live data. And here's the live data coming from the vehicle. Here's engine speed. And if you put a check mark on it, now you can use these functions in the bottom. This one right here says custom. And then if you tap on chart, you can switch this over so it looks like a column. Or if you go to graph, you get a graphing option. Now, if you go to the next one, 2D graph, this one's gonna come in handy when you wanna see it against other parameters. So let me show you how to add other parameters. I'm gonna go back over here, and then I'm gonna put more check marks on the other parameters that I wanna look at, and you can do that for up to 8 parameters. Let's find another one over here. How about this guy right here? So we got 8 parameters, custom. And then you have again the same 8 parameters that we selected, but we go to chart, and you can select the individual graphs or individual columns. But in my opinion, The 2D graph, this is where you really get the most value out of this, where you are combining all 8 parameters within the same graph, allowing you to see relationships between them, and they're color coded, and you get to see in here the different values. And you could choose to record this data for later review. Now this particular vehicle is not equipped with ADAS, but let's go take a look inside of ECU configuration. And again, you have different customizations here that you can do. Again, this list will vary depending on the vehicle that you're connected to. Some you can customize more than others. Well, let's exit out of this page, and that's going to take you back to automatic detection, manual selection. And now I want to show you inside of maintenance reset, there are a couple guides on here that will help you to do some of the different maintenance resets, and it kind of gives you information about how to do those. There are some cases where you just follow a procedure on the vehicle more than doing something with the scanner itself. But it is helpful to have this, especially if you don't have access to the service manual. For this information to be built in or available through the scanner definitely helps. But now let's also take a look at this option right here, which is called diagnostic. Now this one will show you the vehicle makes that are supported by the scanner, in this case under America, and this is the tab for Australia, and here is the tab for Asia. Now if you don't see your vehicle make on this list, there's still one more way that you can connect to it using this tool, and I'll show you that in a little bit. Here's the list for Europe, and finally on this the last tab here, now you got the list for China. Now if you wanted to connect to a vehicle that is not on the supported make list, here's what you can do: OBD-II diagnostics. And under OBD-II, I'm going to select auto scan, and now you have the option of reading codes from the vehicle, clearing trouble codes from the vehicle, live data, freeze frame data, read ECU information, component test, onboard monitor test, O2 monitoring test, or IM readiness, which is for emissions testing. And mind you, this vehicle is not on the supported make list, so it's technically not supported, but I'm still able to connect to it and do some diagnostics using that OBD-II function. Let's look for engine RPMs. Here's engine RPMs, and let's go and do a little bit of graphing over here. And actually, let's go to the other graph. I like this one better. Again, even though this vehicle is technically not supported by the scanner, I can connect to it and access functions like the live data and the other ones included in here, such as reading codes or erasing codes. Moving back to the main menu, under the icon report, here's where you'll find vehicle diagnostic reports and any live data recorded with the scanner. Moving over to special functions, what we know as reset functions, and we get tire size setting, airbag reset, suspension calibration, activate electronic water pump, injector coding, VGT relearn, window initialization, SRS, headlight adjustment, also known as AFS, ADAS, AC relearn, EPB, which is electronic parking brake, oil reset, EGR relearn, SES, FRM reset, start-stop reset, clutch adaptation, crank sensor relearn, speed limit, ABS bleeding, TPF regeneration, gearbox adaptation, HB battery, AF reset, rain light sensor throttle, BMS reset, control unit reset ECU, ECU configurations, transport mode, language change, EEPROM, TPMS reset, seat calibration, power balance, instrument cluster, and IMO, which is immobilizer. But now let's move over to updates. Now the scanner comes in with 3 years of included updates, and you can download the updates individually by tapping on each one of them, or my preferred way of doing it, using the download all option. And let's take a look under more. Here you can enter your shop information, it shows up on the vehicle inspection reports, access to an optional endoscope app, copy of the manual, and also updates for the actual operating system. And briefly, I'll show you inside of settings. Here you can change the language of the scanner, the unit of measure, and a couple other things. And lastly, there is a drop-down menu that gives you access to enabling or disabling Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, orientation of the screen, and several other settings such as the brightness, but also this bar right here. And what this does is can take you behind the scenes, so you have access to several other things that are being loaded on this tablet. And that includes a Chrome browser. Let me navigate to YouTube so we can find a video so we can test out the video and audio quality. All their vehicles that do not support OBD2, so there's a tremendous amount of capability on this unit, and it comes with a ton of accessories. So the GWSMART07 I think is gonna be a good in-between scanner. So it's not super high-end in terms of cost, but it's also not on the lower end, especially because it has topology. And at this price, I usually don't see topology being that common. Now, if you do want more capabilities, such as being able to scan older vehicles pre-OBD2, then you want to consider their larger version, the GWSMART 10-inch. It is much larger, it has a lot more accessories, has a higher price tag, but if you want those additional functions, check out my review for that scanner. I'll put a link to that video in the description down below. And if you like the scanner, but you're looking for something with a smaller price tag and you don't need topology, consider their GWSMART07. It's a smaller form factor, has a couple less features than this one does, but very similar capabilities, but at a much lower price. And it also has a really good feature that this does not have, and that is free updates. So there is no subscription requirement for this. Free updates are included. Check out my full review for the scanner. I'm also gonna put a link for this review in the description down below. And I'm also gonna put a link to this scan tool if you wanna get one for yourself. And if you guys have any other questions regarding this, please put that in the comments down below. And if you found any part of this video helpful, make sure you hit the like button to support the channel and stay tuned as I have a lot more scanner reviews coming up. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, I'll see you on the next one.